The next poem I read is a poem that a number of people wrote to me about, insofar as it is a poem about the death of a rural woman. And at the time I was writing this poem, I was very interested in sensate memory. I was working on how, if you like, memory is stored, but also there is a sense in which I think Mark Patrick HÉireann, in introducing one of my collections, made the point that a poem goes beyond the rational. Yes, mind is important, but heart knowledge is also even more important. And then when you have read the poem, when you are reading it any time, you are doing something that is entirely unique again, that can't be contained simply within rational categories. The death of Mary Doyle. She knew that there was thunder in the air from the sulphur she had come to know. All day she had waited for a visitor to read the letter from her daughter, the nun who had written earlier that week from Africa. Moving her hand along the handle of her stick, she sighs at all the stories she has ready of the older people who'd gone before her farm these stony acres. She talked too much, she thought, in recent times, and then it all came clear in silence. She would go to the barn. She loved it there where all seemed warm and intimate too. Taking her stick, she stumbles out the door and pushes through the yard undisturbed by green pools of urine and dung damp under her feet. And it is the dryness of the barn, its thousand smells a shrine that welcomes her. In recent years she'd come to know a strange fire that sparks from the embers, not lit from desire, but intimacy stored from days and nights spent here in better times, and all the laughter that filled this place. Leaning towards the bin, the smell of meal moulded stirs the memory, and pictures come of hens and cheerful chatter, the stickiness of newborn calves, gelatine healed, unsteady, needing the pull of both hands, to stand wobbling, waiting for the rattlick of a cow's tongue that was with laughter invoked to describe the quiff of her first son's hair. The colours of all the feathers in 100 nests warm her heart that fills, as she tries to feel the rounded shapes finger poked for eggs in the bride years of her marriage. Slowly rising, the warmth moves from her fingers through her body shapeless from the birth of 7 children. Exploding through her head, 1,000 pieces gathered in since memory overwhelm. She folds towards the crib where the wood polish by the neck of an itchy cow is marble smooth and warm, but offers no grip. Lying tumbled in the rank hay, she laughs, and still the colours come of gold and amber, of green gone brown. She had it all. The limber shoot was browned by a season that ran its course. That rich gold head of grain would break the stalk in times of storm or broken weather. But more often the stooking and the binding intervened between the time of fields and the predictable breaking of the thrashing. She was an old sheaf cut loose from binding, all seed taken, only the dried stalks ready for the bedding of all the life that heated with their breath this barn. They found her pitched forward among the hay, and screamed when they saw the youth of the smile that covered all her face. Her stick abandoned, she held in each hand straw and feathers. They would have to clean her up for the laying out. They did not speak to each other or the neighbours of where they found her, and at the laying out a holy woman claimed she heard a crowd of angels come to bring her up, inevitably to heaven. It was not angels that sang her home, but cows and calves and ducks and hens, and they gave her colours for her head, and voices too, and smiles and smells and the touch of love. Not long after, they decided that it was better to knock the barn. It was upsetting, particularly to the holy woman who said, "It held memories that disturbed her of that day when Mary Doyle went out to the barn to die."